it's important to analyze what happened in PM Modi's messaging yesterday. Tamanna is standing by for a quick update there. Tamanna, what stood out?
So, Prime Minister Modi spoke in Parliament yesterday. It was a reply to the President's address, as is convention. But the tone and tenor of that speech, nearly an hour and a half long, is very crucial because it sets the stage clearly for an election which is going to commence in about 100 to 125 days. Now, the market, in a sense, has already discounted a third term for the NDA led by Prime Minister Modi. But to what extent is what was laid out for the first time in Parliament, with the Prime Minister, in a sense, setting a target for his party and for his alliance, the NDA. So the top takeaways, number one, definitely, he's talking about 370 seats. He's saying this on the floor of the House, that the BJP alone will get 370 seats and 400 plus for the NDA in 2024. That's a significant markup from 2019 and 2014, and I'll break that down as well. He goes on to say that India will be the third largest economy in our third term, and he signs it off as Modi ki guarantee. Now, it is, of course, a political statement before an election, but it has to be seen in light of what this government has done in the last 10 years, and which is why it becomes important. Number three, he says the third term will lay the foundation of Viksit Bharat. That's a developed nation status for India. The target for that is 2047. But what do you mean when you say you're going to lay the foundation? And what does that entail in terms of works done, capex, etc., over the next 5 years? It becomes important. The fourth one is, and he says this, that our third term will have very big decisions, which brings me to the next part. What will happen in term 3, which has not already happened in term 1 and 2? That's the cue that investors are going to look for, and of course voters are going to look for. So here's the take after listening to that speech. The sense I got is that the political agenda for the BJP is pretty much done in the first 2 terms, and the focus will now shift on moving India to a developed nation agenda. So the Ram Mandir ticked off, abolishing Article 370 ticked off. Maybe the only thing left would be a UCC, a Universal Civil Code. But pretty much they have finished everything on their list of the political agenda which the BJP has had for the last several decades. That leaves room to focus purely on the developmental agenda in term 3. The focus on Gyan. Now, what do I mean when I say Gyan? Because he talks about these 4 constituencies time and again in that speech. Gyan is for sort of groups of voters. G is for Garib. Y is for Yuva, A is for Annadata, read Kisan, farmers, and N is for Nari. And these are going to be the recipients of a lot of government schemes and a lot of government focus in term 3. That's an important point for a takeaway for investors as well. It's also made very clear that the emphasis on the infra push will continue. If you thought that was flagging after the interim budget, it's now crystal clear that it will be in a renewed gusto in July, and that outlook of this government on how exactly to move the country forward in terms of big capex is not going to flag off. I just want to come for a second, because this was an interesting chart, to the target that the Prime Minister has set. And, you know, we track companies' targets, so look at it this way. In 2014, the BJP had 283 seats, NDA 336. 2019, they've moved to 303 and 353. And the guidance, so to speak, from the Prime Minister in 2024 is 370 for the BJP and 400 plus for the NDA. So he set himself and his party steep upside. We'll have to wait and see if they deliver.